Welcome to Wanderlust and Wishes, the podcast where we explore the world one destination at a time.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Krystle.
As travel agents with Fantastical Vacations, we are here to share our passion for travel and help you turn your wanderlust into reality.
From hidden gems to bucket list adventures, join us as we dive into the sights, sounds, and stories of our favorite destinations.
So grab your passport, pack your bags, and let's embark on this journey together. Welcome to episode 41 of Wanderlust and Wishes. Today, we're going to cover who does it best, Walt Disney World or Universal Orlando. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about our agency meeting that we had this past week. We did a major fail with recording on the goes because we were seriously so busy the entire time. It was really difficult to find a few minutes to, here and there to do them. And so we're going to chat a little bit about how that was and what we did.
Well, do you want to start? You got there before I did.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So I did get there. My flight got in around 11. And of course, I took an Uber over to Cabana Bay and checked in. We checked into and that was around 12:30 by the time I got over there. And all checked in. I got all of my stuff for the agency. We had Beth and Alex from our agency were there giving us our vouchers and things like that we had, or our tickets and things that we had for our agency trip. I thought the room was fantastic. I loved it. And I loved the vibe of the resort. I loved all the colors. It was very bright. It had a great quick service spot. I had, the store. And of course, I had Starbucks that I got every single day. But the room was really, really spacious. And I would highly recommend it. It was a super nice room, I thought.
I thought so too. I really liked it. Julie was so gracious to wait around. I landed about 1:30 and was to the resort just before 2. It was super quick Uber over. And as soon as I dropped my stuff, we went over to the Bayliner Diner and found some lunch because I know by this point we were both starving.
Yeah.
I got some ultimate BLT thing that I thought was good. I could choose fries or fruit and had tomatoes and spinach and bacon in the grilled cheese. So that was a great meal.
I had basically a turkey and cheese sandwich, and I did not love it. And I think part of it was it had some kind of sauce on it that I didn't realize it had on it. It wasn't just regular mayo. It had something in it. And I wish that I had not had that on there. But, I'm not going to completely say that I think the place was great. I think they had lots of great options. They did have grab and go, but you could order something fresh, which was nice.
After we had lunch, I think we met some other agents. We were all given these green lanyards that said Fantastical Vacations on them. So it was very helpful because we're still meeting a bunch of the agents, or they're new, or their Facebook profile picture looks different than what they actually look like. So we'd be like, oh, that's one of us. So that's always fun and exciting.
Yeah. We had lunch with them, I believe, and just chatted a little bit. And then we went over to Volcano Bay because Krystle has never been there and wanted to get some content and also just to kind of check it out to see what it's like.
Yeah, I really needed to get just kind of a lay of the land. Pictures don't do it justice. So we got over there about 3:30 and walked around for about an hour because we had to get back to Universal Studios for a special parade viewing.
That was fun. I definitely enjoyed that. Our agency had kind of a reserved spot for where the Mardi Gras parade came out. So we got as soon as the floats came out, we were able to see them. There was nothing blocking our view or anything like that. So it was really fantastic. And I think the cast members that are part of the parade, the performers, they're fantastic. They
did a really good job.
Yeah, the dancers, and there were tons of people on stilts, and they were dancing in those stilts. I don't know how that completely just boggles my mind that they're able to do that. And then, of course, they have the floats that are coming through and people are throwing beads at you. So that was a little treacherous.
You had to watch out because if not, you were getting hammered in the face.
There's a couple of people that definitely got slapped in the face with beads, but we all collected tons and tons and tons of beads. So I thought that was super fun. Once we were finished with the parade, we had dinner reservations for the agency at Hard Rock.
Yes. So that was fun just to sit and chit chat with other agents. And then we had a special guest appearance by Shrek himself. So we had a little photo op and meet and greet with Shrek.
And of course, I was like super awkward as I always am. So, I actually posted on my stories because I'm so awkward with characters. I don't know what to say to them or do with them, especially if it's not one that I'm like, I like Shrek. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like anti Shrek or anything, but it's not the same as me meeting one of my favorite characters at Disney or a princess or something like that. I get super excited about that. But in certain instances, I don't know what to say or do, and I just feel awkward.
I asked him where Donkey was. And I told him that I had a daughter who never shuts up like Donkey. And he thought that was pretty funny.
That's so hilarious.
Well, that's why I've just kind of like tried to like play into their storyline.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later, but I saw Guru at Cabana Bay when I was getting my bag to leave.
Oh, you did?
And
Oh, I would
I
have been
did.
excited to see.
And I was asking him like where the girls were. And I was like, I gotta be on my way. My three little minions are home waiting for me. And he was playing like rock, paper, scissors with me, but just like a line or two about like their storyline. And I feel like makes the interaction so much better. Like even just mentioning another character from there.
Right. Oh, I would have been totally fine with Gru. I love Gru. He's hilarious. He's probably, of all of the characters there, that's probably my favorite story, or my favorite IP, at least, that they have and that I'm most familiar with. So I would have been really excited with that. I didn't realize that. I'm
Yeah, he was just in the lobby as I was like
jealous.
grabbing my bag. After we got done at Hard Rock, I think we all ended up at Swizzle.
Mm-hmm.
Swizzle is the lobby bar lounge inside Cabana Bay, and they have like four little tables. But I think we like fit like 50 agents on that like booth bench
Yeah,
that they
there's
have running
definitely a
through there.
spot. There's a spot that we all just kind of took over for sure every time we were there.
The next morning, we had to be at Royal Pacific for our meetings by 9 a.m. So we were running behind, but we hit the Bayliner Diner. Well, I did. You got
I just
Starbucks.
got Starbucks. Coffee over food every time, guys. Coffee over food.
And the Starbucks line, it was long.
Intense. Yeah, it was intense pretty much every morning for sure.
I got what was it? Kind of like a breakfast burrito on like a flatbread kind of thing. It was good. It was decent, like protein for the morning. The same kind of place where we got our sandwiches, they just kind of make it in front of you as you
Mhm.
order. And then we had meetings all day. We were spoiled with some swag. We got like a backpack and a water bottle and a notebook, some treats.
Yeah,
Uh,
candy, the breakfast
we
of
were
champions.
Yes, we were there for the long haul. Our meeting space was from 9 to 6, and they did cater lunch, but we heard from our agency owners. We love them, and just a bunch of other agents. And surprise, I was on the panel, which
Yes,
was very nerve-wracking.
it was great. You did fantastic. Everybody did fantastic that did any presentations. And I do presentations at my day job all the time, and I know that it takes a lot of practice to feel comfortable doing that. And when that's not something you do all the time, it's hard to stand up in front of that many people and like talk. Even if you're super confident about what you're talking about, it's still hard to like have everybody staring at you
Up on a stage in
when
front of
you're up on the
everybody.
stage. Yes.
It was probably about like 11 when Dan and Leslie were talking, and it kind of sunk in that I was coming up, and I just got like so sick. Like I could barely even like eat lunch, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh,
You did
it's
fantastic.
coming."
You did great.
So,
We also heard
uh,
from our BDM, which is our business development manager. I think that's what it stands for Universal. And he talked obviously about Epic a lot and some of the other things that are coming, which is fun that we were able to get a lot of that information. It definitely got us really excited about Epic. He had just come from a technical dress rehearsal the day before. And obviously, they're not quite ready, but anytime you're doing those technical dress rehearsals, they're there so that they can find out any kinks and tweak them and make sure things are going, perfecting their rides and all of those things. And so he was able to give us a little bit of information on that, and that definitely got me super excited for the rides and all of the IP that's gonna be there. I'm excited.
Yeah, it was very fun to listen because he's like, they gave me a schedule to run through for the day, so I had to eat where they told me to eat and be
Mhm.
on a certain ride at this time. And it's just like, what a life that he was just going through the day like he was a visitor at a park that hasn't even opened yet. So it was very fun to listen to him.
But that took the whole day. Like, we went until 6 o'clock. It was a very long day. I think, tons of great information, but it was a long day.
Yes, it was.
What did we do? I don't even know what we did after that. What did we do?
So we walked outside, right outside of our conference room was the water taxi. And we hopped on the water taxi and headed over to City Walk.
Yeah, I remember.
And we went and got a walk-up reservation for Antojitos, the Mexican food.
It was good.
It was very good. What were there? 8 of us that ended up at that table. They had tableside guac, margaritas
Margarita.
all around.
I had
I
the
had some.
watermelon one. It was so good. So yummy.
It looked really good. Our friend Danny, you guys know Danny from our Alani episode. She had one with like a popsicle in it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then after that, we all ended up at so it's called the Red Coconut Club, but for Universal seasonally, they change it for Halloween Horror Nights, for Mardi Gras, just for the different seasons. They like rethemed the whole inside. So it was called the Cursed Coconut Club for Mardi Gras. The place was kind of empty, and except for there were a bunch of us agents on the balcony dancing and having a good time.
Yeah. Had a little too much fun that night.
After that, we headed back and ended up at Swizzle again, and that was a late night,
It was.
but it was a fun night. And then that led us to Friday morning. We had to be in the lobby and ready for another morning of events. I think I got breakfast again
You
at the
did.
Bayliner Diner.
You did. I got a Starbucks again. I was in line for Starbucks. And then I did at least get a protein bar at Bayliner so that I would had something to eat.
Yes, I
Never.
got made to order omelets and down that really quick because we were running behind.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
course.
Dan and Leslie were sitting like a table over from us, so I knew as long as we were wherever they were, I wasn't worried about it. So we all got back over to the lobby pretty much on time. Right, it was pretty much on 8:45, and we were split into 2 different groups and put on buses and went to tour 3 different resorts. We toured Royal Pacific, Portofino Bay, and the new Stella Nova, which I was so excited about because I was able to go to the gift shop, which was like one of my main goals for the entire trip.
She got her merch.
Yeah, yay! Which one was your favorite?
Oh, I don't know. I like them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
Stella, the proximity to Epic can't be beat, and there's like a walking path, so that's great. I really like the vibes of Royal Pacific. It reminds me, kind of comparing it to the Poly at Disney,
Yeah.
just like that island vibe. It was very chic, well done.
It was
Um,
beautiful.
yes, it is. And then Portofino Bay, I liked it, and I think I would probably stay there. It felt really like expansive, but it's also usually one of the cheaper of the signatures ones. So I
I
might end up there.
I liked Portofino Bay, probably would be my favorite for the pool for the girls
Oh, yes, that pool was amazing.
because it has the slide and Royal Pacific doesn't have a slide. I think I like the vibe and the size of Royal Pacific better, but it doesn't have a slide. And so I think I would have to really think about that and weigh, the pros and cons of having that option because my girls typically are in the pool every day. Like literally when we go to Riviera, they're in the pool every single day. After the parks or on a rest day, they're there all like they love to get into the pool and they love to use the slide. So that would be tough for me. I was a little overwhelmed by the size of Portofino Bay. So that was one of the things I love about Riviera is that it's so compact. And I liked that a lot about Royal Pacific. I thought Stella Nova was very gorgeous. I mean, it's brand new, but I think it probably doesn't have, at least for me, the level of amenities that I'm usually like want from when I go. And it doesn't have the express pass, unlimited express pass. And that would be a huge thing for me to be able to have that with that included in my hotel stay.
Well, and with my family, there's no rollaway, so there's no fifth sleeper. And
Yes.
where the other two, you can get a rollaway, and the rooms at Portofino Bay are massive.
Yes,
So
they
you
have
could
much
put
bigger rooms for
a
sure.
rollaway in there and it not even be in the way,
It would
which
be
is
a
kind
little
of,
tight at Royal Pacific. It would
yeah.
be a little tight for sure.
After that, we took the bus back to the resort at Cabana Bay to, like, I had my camera, so I like dropped that off. And then we made our way back over to the parks. This was like our only real park time,
Mhm.
but we didn't get to City Walk until 2 p.m. And so we ran to Universal Studios. We went and found the Mardi Gras food booths. We stopped at Puerto Rico and got the fritters. And I got I think it's called the lumbar. It's almost like a frozen coconut milk and ice blended, and then they froze it, kind of like a popsicle thing. So that was very refreshing because it was supposed to be cooler this day, but it was still like 81
It
degrees.
was
Like
80. Yeah, it was warmer for sure.
we were a little warm. We walked through. You also got the fritters, right?
I did, yeah, they were gluten-free, so I was able to have those, and they were pretty good.
Then we walked around a little bit. We went through Seuss Land and made our way over to the Velocicoaster because we were having an agent meetup at like 3 o'clock for anybody and everybody who's part of the agency who wanted to ride. I think we ended up with about 40 of us, and we all waited in line for at least an hour to ride.
I don't think it was an hour. I don't think it was at all.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
I was like, this is taking forever.
I don't think it was. I felt like it was more like 45 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
it still wasn't like, a blink of an eye or anything, but I don't think we waited an hour,
So after we did that, Hulk only had like a 20-minute wait. So
which was a
there were
lie. That one we
it
definitely waited longer.
it bumped up as soon as we got in line. But Julie and I and three other agents, we ran over there and did Hulk so I could experience that.
That was fun. And then after that, we went back to Universal Studios and did Rip Ride Rocket just as a kind of farewell ride since it's going away. Velocicoaster, like, takes your breath away. It's so fast. It's insane.
You guys to do Velocicoaster, Hulk, and Rip Ride Rocket. I waited and I did not do Rip Ride Rocket, but to do all three back to back
Mhm.
is a little crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot.
When they went on Rip Ride Rocket, I went over. Bill and Con only had a 5 minute wait, so I was like, I'm gonna see what this is all about.
Fun, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a good one.
And then after that, basically, Krystle had to leave. It was right at the time when Krystle had to kind of head out. I was with the other 3 agents, Katie and Megan and Jess, and we walked over to City Walk. I think we went straight there. We walked
Hmm.
over we walked over to City Walk because we had a reservation at Cowfish, which is, if you haven't ever heard of it, it's a sushi burger fusion place. We also met with another agent, Leah. She had taken just a quick break at the room, and so she met up with us too. So the 5 of us had dinner there. By the time we were done and back to the resort or to the hotel, it was like 9 o'clock. Julie did not go back out to Swizzle that night. Julie went to bed. They're definitely an exhausting couple of days. So I was done.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel you.
I also heard that Megan was out. She never they tried to get her back up to go back out, and she's like, "No, I'm not going." But they also rope dropped the next morning, which I told them was masochistic. They were insane. They got up and rope dropped the next morning at, Universal, and I did not. I basically took almost as long as possible to get up and take a shower and go back out to the lobby. I met Danny because we had reservations at Caribbean Beach for Saturday night. So we decided once and Danny also was kind of moving slowly. So we went over to Caribbean Beach from there and checked in, or, did our check in. Our room wasn't ready yet, and left our bags. And then we went over to Riviera and worked for like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours, because we both had things that we needed to get done that we'd kind of left because of all of the action over the last several days. We just hadn't been able to get it done. So we had to get those things done. So that was really good. That was very productive. And I felt a lot better because I was starting to stress out that there was a couple things I needed to do for clients. And we got all that done. We also had lunch there. We ordered online from Primo Piatto, which I basically could probably tell you what that menu is because I order off of it every time I'm there. Then our room was ready. So we went over there. We decided we were going to go over to Geyser Point. So we went over to Wilderness Lodge, and of course, I love that resort. So there was no twisting my arm there to go over there. There was a bit of a wait for the walk up, so we were going to just kind of walk around and piddle fart around, and we did get a little bit of content. But then we realized that another agent, Lindsay, was at the tower, at the Poly Tower, which is another place we wanted to go. One of our kind of goals of things that we wanted to be able to see. And she had a reservation. But there's no reservations. So she had gotten on the walk up wait list. But she was on the list, and she was basically, they were telling her it should be around like 6:15 or whatever. Well, silly us, we should know better as agents that we tell our clients all the time to you should plan for at least an hour to travel between locations at Disney World. We were like, oh, we'll just take a boat over to Magic Kingdom, and then we'll just walk over or take the monorail or take a boat. Oh my gosh. It took us an hour, probably over an hour to get there. It was insane, which we kind of joked that we think that the people that were captaining, or whatever you call it, the boats, I think they were maybe in training or something. It took them forever. But anyway, we did get to go to the tower finally. It was pretty hilarious because everybody that we ran into, cast member wise, they knew we were coming, and they knew about the whole boat situation, and all of them were like kind of joking with us about it. And I was like, okay, we're infamous at this point. We're those two like dummies that thought we could quickly get over here by boat. Long story short, we should have taken an Uber, and I don't know why we didn't. We got over there. We were like, they sat us really quickly, but it was like probably 7:30. By the time we got our food, it was probably more like 7:45. And we basically like took a couple of quick bites, and then we went outside to the beach and watched fireworks, which was the best. Of course, I just love Happily Ever After. It was so good. And if you don't know, they pipe in the sound, so you hear the music that you hear at the castle. You hear all of it, and obviously you can see the projections. You can kind of see the projections on the castle, but you're way far away to the point where you can't really see them. But it was wonderful and magical, and I'm so glad we got to do that. And then after that, we went back to the resort because we were both exhausted and really didn't feel like going out and doing anything else. We're recording on Sunday, so this morning we got up, and the only thing that we had in mind, and this was kind of a thing that Danny really wanted to do, we went over to Disney Springs. We got there around 9 o'clock, and got in line for Gideon's. It doesn't open until 10, but people start lining up at 9 o'clock. It's bananas. And we waited for close to an hour. I mean, they opened up a few minutes early, started letting people in, so we were able to get in. We got our peanut butter cold brew, which was the reason behind us going in. I cannot even put into words the smells of the place. It is heavenly. I asked Danny when we walked in, I was like, "Do you think it's worth it for me to be sick for 3 days?" I was like, I'm really on the bubble here whether I should get a cookie." So anyway, so yeah, so then we basically had time to do that and come back and check out, and then I'm at a work conference, so I checked into my 3rd hotel for the week.
You're just all over the place.
So it was such a fun week. I need to go back and put together a couple of different posts just to, like, recap some things, on my social media. I was posting on my stories, and I did post a couple on Wanderlust and Wishes. I tried to repost them. It was just such a whirlwind.
It really was like, I didn't even have
I'm
time to post on
exhausted.
my stories until, like, I was laying in bed at 2 AM. Oh, I should probably post what we did,
Yeah,
and I still haven't posted anything from Friday, so
yeah.
that is coming,
Exhausted.
but so I got on the plane, and I was like I even bought the Wi-Fi, and I was, like, working, and
Yeah,
then I froze my butt off at a hockey game all day Saturday, so that was fun.
went from 80 degrees to, like, 40 degrees.
Not even that, it was, like, a 20 degrees with a wind chill, like, in the
Oh my
teeth.
gosh. Gross. That's terrible.
Yeah, so
Okay, so let's get into our topic. We thought since we just got back from Universal that we could talk about who does it better between Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando. They're both like fantastic theme parks. They both have, different IPs that they represent, but they just think they're just different. They're just very different. And which one is right for you or which one is they may both be right for you. It just may be what you want out of your trip that depends on where you go.
yeah, for sure. So these are, as always, just our opinions, but maybe this will kind of give you an idea if you are on the fence between the two. All right. I don't know if I'm going to, maybe I'll kind of keep score. We'll see how that works. So the first category, overall atmosphere and theming. Disney's immersive lands versus or Universal's more compact but detailed areas. Thoughts?
Well, I think so this is really like where it is now, but I think it's going to change. There's going to be a definite change in the way things work and just the overall feel of Universal once they open Epic because it's not going to be compact anymore. It will be those first 3 original parks are going to be compact, but if you want to go to Universal, it's going to be farther away. And it we actually kind of joked about it with Derek, our BDM for Universal, that people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna, you have to ride a bus all the way over there," and it's like, you guys do that at Disney Walt Disney World all the time, but that's just what we're used to. And one of the really cool things about Universal right now is that you can walk around. Like it's very, very easy to get around between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure versus having to, take a bus from park to park and taking an hour to get
Yeah,
somewhere
for sure.
at Walt Disney World. So I think that's going to be really interesting. It,
Well, it kind of reminds me of like Disneyland, how it's so close and easy to park hop.
yeah, I would agree. I think that right now, immersive wise, I think that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter do a better job than anything that Disney has. Obviously, I love Disney, but I think what they currently have, I don't think they have a land that I feel like is as immersive as that is at their parks.
I would have to agree. There's nothing like walking through the wall at Diagon Alley and you are really like taken and put into the movie set.
Mhm,
And there's just nothing like that at Disney. Disney does a good job with their details, but nothing compares.
mm-mm, I agree. The magic of Disney versus the movie studio feel of Universal. For this one, I'm probably gonna go with the magic of Disney. I think Universal is trying to get, more of that storytelling element, but you just can't. There's just I mean, Danny and I actually had this conversation. We we had a fantastic time at Universal, you know, the few days that we were there. But once we got to Riviera, and we weren't even in the parks, and I was like, "I just feel like I'm home now." That I would've I'm missing out if I don't experience this, whatever it is that Disney makes me feel, you know?
Yeah, there's really the bubble is really magical. Like, you're as soon as you cross under the sign, there's just a different feeling, and Universal kinda misses out on that because, I don't know, City Walks kinda feels like a mall to me, and it's just I don't know, it's just not as, like I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
It's, like, not personal. I think Disney makes
Yes.
it personal, and I don't think
Yes.
that Universal does that. I do think, however, if you are looking for an environment that where you have a lot of things to do kind of at night that aren't necessarily park related, I think Universal seems to have more options. I mean, I know that Disney has Disney Springs, but from like a nightlife type environment, I feel like Universal's more like hopping when it comes to that. I don't think Disney has a lot of that. And I realize like a lot of it is because they cater more to families. I think Universal's trying to do that in some regard, but I think that they do a better job from that perspective.
Well, and once Jelly Rolls is gone, there's really not gonna be any nightlife.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have some, like, kind of bars at the they have wine bar and stuff like that at Disney Springs. I just don't think it's the same vibe at all.
Who wins? Is it more about nostalgia or innovation?
For me, I do think that it does depend on what you're looking for. So and as Crystal said, this is my opinion. Right now, Disney's still gonna win for me, but I'm also, like, very, very, very excited to experience Epic. I mean, and I literally was like, "I have to get something that has the Ministry of Magic on it at the gift shop while we're in Universal." So, yeah, Disney definitely wins for me right now.
I agree as well. Just and it may just fall back on that I grew up as a Disney kid and not so much like a lot of the IP that is at Universal, but the innovation that is coming at Epic is mind-blowing. So, I do think that Disney wins this one, but for now. All right. So, we are tied 2 to 2 so far. Let's move on to rides and attractions. First up on the list is thrills. Universal has a lot of intense coasters, Velocicoaster Hulk versus Disney's more balanced mix.
I think if you're looking for rides, like thrill rides and coasters and things like that, Universal's gonna win hands down. Like, there's 0 comparison in my opinion. I mean, you have Hagrid's, you have Velocicoaster, you have the Hulk, Rip Ride. Rocket, I know is going away, but, they're gonna have who knows, they'll put something in its place. As much as I do not like them, they have, the water rides. They have lots of different water rides. They have the Mummy. It's extremely thrilling. So, as much as I love Disney, I think if you're looking for rides, thrill rides,
Mhm.
larger rides, Universal has this one in the bag.
I completely agree. Universal definitely holds the thrills card for sure. Next on our list is dark rides and storytelling. So, Rise of the Resistance versus Forbidden Journey. Who nails the immersion?
Mm,
You guys all know our thoughts on Forbidden Journey. You will never ride it again.
I don't know if I can honestly, I don't know if I can really truly I literally had my eyes closed the entire time in Forbidden Journey, so I don't even think I could tell you.
I thought it was like cool, like the storytelling, but it's a lot of screens where in Rise of the Resistance, you have a lot of the big animatronics. You're riding under what are the big things?
That at
The AT-ATs that you like drive underneath and you're getting shot at. And
seeing what Crystal was doing on the screen, like, trying to mimic the AT-ATs. Oh, that's funny.
so I'm giving it to Disney on this one.
I think I probably would too, but I like I said, I don't feel like I can fairly assess it because I had my eyes clamped shut during that ride.
The next one on our list is family friendly options. Which park does a better job catering to younger kids? And I'm just gonna throw Disney right out there
Disney.
right now,
Yeah.
hands down. Every time I'm at Universal, I'm kind of doing like a mental inventory, and I still am hesitant to even consider it with Reese, who is 3, Harper, who just turned 6. She's tall for her age, but I still worry that there's a lot that she can't do. 6, 7 is probably about the beginning age, I would say, for Universal.
Yeah.
Calder would have a ball, but if you're taking, like, if you're in the thick of it with little kids, Disney, no questions asked.
Right. I agree.
Next on our list is ride queues, which has more immersive experience.
This is a hard one because I do think, I mean, especially in Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the ride queues are insane. This is a tough one. I'm gotta think about. I mean, if I'm comparing like a particular one, I mean, and even like, I think the Lost Coaster is kind of boring and way too long. But if I'm using Wizarding World of Harry Potter queues, then I would say Universal. But I think outside of those, it's probably going to be Disney.
Yeah. Like, I feel like across the board, Disney has more.
Yeah.
Not the Universals are bad, but like you think about the queue for Rip Ride Rocket, there's like nothing there. Like you don't
Yeah.
even know what the story
It's
is.
just a ride. Yeah.
Even like Pooh or Peter Pan, like as you're in the queue, you're starting to get immersed into the storyline.
Agree. Yeah. I basically, I was going to say the same thing that regardless of the ride, Disney has a queue with storytelling. And you don't get storytelling in every single queue at Universal.
So, who has the better overall lineup of rides and attractions?
Overall, I really do think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're going for the thrill rides and that's most important to you, then it's going to be Universal. But if you are looking for, a more balanced option with options across younger kids to older kids to adults, then Disney's going to be the better one. I know I didn't really answer the question, but I do really think that it is dependent upon what you're looking for.
I agree. I think I'll give a point to each of them just because, like you said, like, are you going with older kids? Are you going with younger kids? What are you? Do you have motion sickness? Do you not have motion sickness? Are you going to see characters in shows or are you going for a festival? Like, there's so many variables that it's hard to pinpoint. All
Okay.
right. So I'm adding 2 more to them, and Disney has 4. We are at 6 to 4 for Disney.
Okay.
Number 3, we have entertainment and shows. First up, fireworks nighttime spectaculars. Happily Ever After versus Universal's lack of big nighttime show.
I think they do have some shows that they do projections on the castle. I think is it called Hogwarts Forever or something similar. But I don't think I don't know if that's consistent. And
No, I don't think it's worth, like, it's like a 5 to 8 minute show, and I don't think it's worth planning your whole day around and
um,
going out of your way for, where Happily Ever After, I will happily find me a spot and
yeah.
park it for a half hour.
And also, it's very strange to me. Universal closes at like 7 o'clock. So
Yes.
they don't really have they just don't really have shows. And Disney has shows at all of their parks except for Animal Kingdom. So regardless, like, with that exception, regardless of what park you're in, you have something that you can do fireworks wise, and Universal just doesn't. I'm wondering if they'll change that with Epic.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Next up is stunt shows and stage entertainment. Things like the Born Stuntacular, the horror makeup show versus Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo, Big Blue and Beyond.
I'm not like a huge show person, as in the kind of things that Universal does. I've heard that the makeup show is fantastic and it's hilarious, and the people that do that show they're so good. I just haven't experienced it. But the couple of shows that I've done, I I'm not I'm just not a big fan of them. I would rather go see the Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah, it's hard to
And
me.
cry at all the songs.
It is hard for me to speak on the Universal ones just because I've never done either of those. But that's also, I feel like every time I'm there, it's not a priority for me. Where the Festival of the Lion King is definitely a priority, and those actors blow me away.
Yeah,
So I'm giving it to Disney on this one.
yeah, it's like Broadway level
Yes, for sure.
entertainment for free. Well, I mean, except you're paying for your park ticket, but so
Next one on our list is the random Straightnosphere and in park entertainment. Who do you think does it better?
I don't unless I've missed something, like, I don't really feel like there's a lot of straight atmosphere at Universal. I mean, I don't you don't see, like, Dapper Dans and, you know, stuff
Um,
happening, right? I mean, and maybe I just
they
missed
do
that.
have like some like little pop up little concert things that I've seen. Like last year, I watched some car drive through the street of New York, and then they hopped out and were like singing like a little quartet.
Oh,
So I know it's there, but I just don't feel like it's as consistent. Maybe.
yeah, because, I mean, Disney has the parades, and they have things like Dapper Dans. They have the characters that, walk around that you can see. In Animal Kingdom, they have the entertainers in Africa that do the singing and the drums and dancing, which is super fun. They have stuff like that also in Epcot.
The Jameters.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, Disney's I think this one, Disney kind of did a full sweep.
Yes, for sure. So Disney gets another 3 points. Number four, dining and food options. So first up is quick service. Who do you feel like has the better grab and go options?
Universal is getting better as far as, like, giving better options. I felt a little bit more comfortable this time around from the gluten-free perspective, but I still don't feel as comfortable as Disney. And I mean, I feel like I can do an online order from any of the quick service places that have that available, and it was super easy. I think Disney does this better.
Yeah, and overall, like think about some of the grab and go like quick service options at Disney, and there's a wider variety. I feel like where at Universal, it's a lot of theme park, hot dog, hamburger, chicken strips.
Yes, I agree. And
Yeah,
you can order online. I mean, even like today, so just as an example, and this is at the resort. It's not, in a park, but they have similar type situations. Whenever I did my mobile order at Caribbean Beach, I ordered fish tacos. They were so good. Like, I'm probably gonna be like, next time we're at Riviera, I'm gonna have to take a truck over to the marketplace at Caribbean Beach and get those fish tacos because they were so good. It was very easy to order. They were there on the online order on the app. I know that they were gluten friendly because of that label on the app, and I was able to get them and, like, pick them up in like 10 minutes. Boom, done. They were so good.
moving on to table service, theme dining, and overall experience. This one is hard for me because if you consider City Walk and its close proximity
Yeah.
to the parks, it just adds so many options quickly. Like you can walk out of the park and be to a reservation in 10, 15 minutes. Where, yes, Disney has Disney Springs, but like Julie was saying earlier, it could be an hour before you get there. It's not an easy walk over there, even though there's a lot of great table service dining at Disney. A lot of it's also very cutthroat and hard to get. And if you're not on at 60 days getting your reservation, you're out of luck. Where Universal, we walked up to how many or got like a reservation 20 minutes before and had no issue.
Yeah.
So I think I've got to give that one to Universal.
As much as I think ease, if you're thinking of the ease of being able to get a reservation, definitely Universal. From the experience, at least for my part, because I love character dining, then
Yes.
I would go with Disney.
All
So,
right. We're split. We'll give them each one. Next, snacks. Butterbeer versus Dole Whip. Battle of the Icons. I didn't
butterbeer.
have butterbeer at all this trip.
I didn't either, and I'm very upset about it. I'm gonna have to go back and, like, figure out I don't know, if you can only get it in the park, then I guess I can't, but butterbeer, hands down. Frozen butterbeer, I'd have that over Dole Whip any day. I mean, I love Dole Whip, but I would pick butterbeer.
Yeah, I think I've gotta agree.
It's so good.
And especially where it's, like, such a, like, exclusive where, like, other people try to do Dole Whips. You can find other places that might not taste the exact same, but butterbeer is solely its own thing. And we do know that they are bringing another type of butterbeer, something or other. I don't know if we can say it, to Epic. So that will be fun. All
No,
right,
I know, that was
Universal.
really funny because Derek was like, "Now you'll have a 6th option," or something.
Next is specialty and seasonal offerings. Do you think one park does special food events better?
I don't think there's any competition on this one. Disney, with its festivals, I mean, it has festival food booths, and, I mean, we were there, obviously it's Mardi Gras right now, and they had food booths, and I did think that what we got from the Puerto Rico booth was really, really good, but I was a little disappointed in it was just kinda like this little section, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't as fun as I thought it was gonna be. Wasn't as
Yeah, they
exciting.
kind of like plop it all down in the middle of like one little square
Mhm.
block.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, we're here. It does one sound good where you'd have to keep coming back to that little section for
Yeah.
each of your food. Where Epcot,
Walk
it's like,
around.
well, let's start here for breakfast and slowly meander. And by lunch, we are here and want another snack. And then it's easier to spread it out.
Yeah. I think the compact layout kind of goes against them in this particular scenario.
All right. So Disney got 3 this round, Universal got 2. Number 5, park layout and ease of getting around. We kind of alluded to this earlier. Universal's compact layout and ability to park hop in minutes.
Yeah. I think that at least until Epic Universe opens, and even maybe then, because it's only like the one that's like separated, I don't think that you can. Universal's much easier to get around. It's so much, I mean, you can just walk back and forth so much easier.
I agree. Disney's massive spread, you have more space, but also more transportation is required. I
Yeah.
do like that Disney has so many transportation options,
Mhm.
but Universal really has like Disneyland, you can depend on your feet and you don't have to depend on transportation if you don't need to.
Yeah. It's very nice to be able to just walk back and forth. And the boats, they were like, they were pretty quick. Like, I mean, that's one of the things that I was just talking about how it took us forever to take those boats at Disney. And I love the boats at Disney. I love like riding on Seven Seas Lagoon. I think it's super relaxing and everything. But I mean, when you're in a hurry, taking 30 minutes to get a boat over to Magic Kingdom from Wilderness Lodge is flipping ridiculous. So,
Yeah, and just like how quickly there's one like if one leaves, you're not waiting 20 minutes for another boat like
right.
you are at Disney.
Right.
There was after the meeting, we got in line to do the boat. We just missed one from Royal Pacific to City Walk. So we went through security and we were attempting a TikTok, but we didn't even have 5 minutes to work on our TikTok because the boat was already there.
Yeah, we were being annoying. We were being those annoying people in the line.
It's gonna be worth it.
Oh, that was funny.
Next, crowd flow, bottlenecks, and ease of navigation. Who do you feel like does this better?
I think Disney has more space.
Yeah, so it's easier to deal
I
with.
think they have wider, like, corridors or whatever you wanna call them. There's definitely areas in, like, Diagon Alley that are really tight, and, I mean, not just there, but I just know, like, that's, like, immediately what I think of is they probably could have made it a little bit, like, bigger, like, the streets a little bit wider so that it's not so congested in there. It doesn't take a lot for it to feel congested.
Yes. And I feel like Universal is a lot like World Showcase at Epcot, where with the lake in the middle, that you only have one option around. Whereas someplace like Magic Kingdom, there's two or three different ways to get from land to land. If you're stuck behind a parade or a show or something, there's usually an alternate route,
Yeah.
which I don't really find that at Universal.
It's harder because it's just a big circle.
We're almost done, guys. Number six, on-site hotels and perks. At the Disney Resort, you get the benefits. Your Lightning Lane, multi-pass selection, you have all the transportation, theming versus the Universal Resort perks where you have express pass at some of them, the proximity to the parks, the value options. Who do you think does it better?
Well, so this is definitely hard for me because I think if you're staying somewhere that includes the unlimited express pass, I think that Universal wins this one hands down because I mean it's included with your stay. And Disney doesn't
Yes.
have anything like that. Disney, like you don't get like if you pay to stay at a deluxe resort, you don't get Premier Pass included in your stay. And I think that is I feel like that's kind of a miss for Disney where they could have made that a benefit that they included. From the ease of getting in your resort and the way that the park and the hotel or the resort are integrated, I like that better at Disney. Like, that was one of the things that I think was a little frustrating that the hotel is completely separate. I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago. The hotel is owned by Lowe's, at Universal, completely separate, has nothing to do with the park or the park tickets. So if you have an issue with your park tickets, you have to go to guest services at the parks. You can't get help with that. Now, they will print your park tickets at the kiosk.
But you have to go to the Universal like help desk in the hotel, not even the front
Right,
desk.
right. But if you have anything basically outside of printing your tickets, you have to take transportation over to the parks and talk to someone in guest services, which to me is I'm not a fan of that at all.
It is hard because I appreciate that Lowe's is a hospitality company. So they can do a really good job providing hospitality and the leaving the park side out of it so
Mhm.
they can really focus on that. There's just like some disconnect of like, well, this is Lowe's, so here you can use this cup here, but you can't use this cup
Yeah.
at the other Lowe's hotels where Disney, if you get a resort mug, you can use that at any resort on property. It
Mhm,
doesn't matter.
mhm. Yeah,
I do appreciate the proximity that Universal provides. A lot of them are within walking distance.
yeah. That's really nice.
So I think this just kind of depends on what you're going for and how long you're going to be there. If you are spending a lot of time in the parks or if you're spending a lot of time at your resort, I think it's split.
I agree.
I hate to say that, but I think it's split.
It's very hard. Yeah, I think kind of both of those get a point. But if you're looking at our next question is which hotel offers the best bang for your buck? I think hands down Universal is gonna the pricing is better. It just is.
Yes, yes, it is definitely better. And especially when you jump into that signature top tier with the unlimited express pass, you cannot beat that price.
No.
But even their like value inns and suites, a lot of them price dramatically cheaper than the values over at Disney. All right. So I guess we kind of already talked about this. Do you feel like one offers a better overall experience than the other?
I think if if it's hard for me to separate out just the hotel experience, I think, because like I was saying to you, I thought that Cabana Bay was fantastic. I loved it. It would be one of those where I might have to balance, okay, do I want to pay separate for Express Pass and stay at Cabana Bay versus staying at one of the signature resorts and getting it included because I loved the vibe. I loved the colors. It was vibrant. I loved those family suites. They were very spacious, had lots of room. And it would be a really good option for my family because my girls don't like to sleep together, so it has a separate sleeping option. But I'm gonna go with Disney on this one just because I like I said, when I walked into Riviera and even Caribbean Beach, like, I just felt there's just something there that makes you feel happy. I don't know how to explain
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I also struggle because as a family of 5, I do feel like it would be easier for my family to stay at Universal just because there's so many options with the rollaways
Yeah,
that now at Disney, we're pretty limited. There's a couple of moderates that have the 5th sleeper or some DVC Deluxe studios that we could find it, but we're gonna be staying in the same 3 or 4
yeah,
hotels from here on out. So, it is hard, but I'm gonna have to go with Disney for the magic.
yeah,
Leading that kinda leads into our next point is, do you feel like a site has more immersive resort experience over the other?
yeah, Disney.
Yes, I agree. Disney for sure. There are little touches of Disney everywhere in the resorts. Hidden Mickey's artwork, characters, larger than life, statues, where you don't get any of that at Universal, except for there are some kids suites that have like the Minions and Jurassic Park, but there are only like 8 Jurassic Park suites, so they're very hard to come by.
Impossible to get almost.
Derek, our BDM, was telling us that in his however many years he's been there, like 8 years, he's only ever been in a Jurassic suite one time. And he does resort tours weekly for different agencies. And he always tries to get one, but he has only been successful one time because they're always
Oh,
full. All right. 7, our final one, the cost and value for your money. We've kind of alluded this already, but who would you say has better ticket prices, add-ons, overall value?
I mean, I think if you're just looking at cost, then Universal is gonna win. I mean,
I agree.
but you also have to look at what does your family want? It wouldn't make any sense for you to go to Universal right now because Reese probably wouldn't get anything out of it. Maybe, I mean, Harper might, regardless if you spent money on it, even if it was less money than Disney, like they may not necessarily enjoy it. So you have to think about that,
Yes.
obviously. But if you're looking at just pricing, I mean, I think you can get, and don't quote me on this, I'm just off the top of my head, but it's probably close to half,
Mhm.
like 50 to 60% of the cost of Disney World to stay at a signature resort compared to a deluxe at Disney, and you're getting the unlimited express pass. And if you want either premier or just regular multi-pass or single pass, you have to pay extra for that at Disney. It's not included in your stay.
I agree. Like, obviously, it does depend on where your family's at in life, but if you're just putting a 7-day vacation versus a 7-day vacation on paper,
Mhm.
Universal is going to win.
I was very, very like pleasantly surprised. Well, I don't know if I was surprised, but the two signature resorts that we toured, Royal Pacific and Portofino Bay, they were beautiful. I almost felt like Grand Floridian level beautiful resorts. I would have no problem staying in either one of those. And I think Hard Rock is going to be a similar experience as far as like being a signature resort. I think it's a little bit more lively. It might be a little bit too loud for me if I want a place that I can relax. Both Royal Pacific and Portofino Bay had looked like they had lots of options for just being able to like chill out and having
Mhm.
a beautiful spot to lay at the pool all day and spend a rest day kind of thing.
So going back, I think if we were to add up points, Disney would edge out Universal. But I think in each category, it comes pretty close. The overall atmosphere and theming was a tie. Rise and attraction, Disney barely squeaked by. The entertainment shows, Disney took a clean sweep. The dining, food, and options, Disney barely squeaked past that one. The park layout and ease of getting around, Universal took that one. The on-site hotels and perks, we gave that to Disney. And just the cost and value for money to Universal. I don't know if there is a clear winner. I think it depends on what kind of travel you are, honestly, and what stage of life your family is in.
I'm definitely like leaning more towards being able to take a vacation, especially once Epic is open, and be able to experience that park and stay at a Universal resort, take my family to do that. And that was something that I probably would have never considered, I don't know, even like 6 months to a year ago. They're working on becoming the location that people want to go to and not just an add-on to a Disney vacation. Derek has mentioned that multiple times, that that's their goal right now. And that's a huge priority for them.
Well, and we didn't even talk about water parks, but I think
Oh, Volcano
Volcano
Bay
Bay
wins that one for sure.
takes that hands down. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it very depends on what you're into. It might also be what IP you're into. A lot of the shows and stuff at Universal, my kids just aren't as familiar with right now
Mhm.
because they're Disney kids, but there were some things there that I was like, "Oh, this reminds me of when I was a kid," or
I think if you have a Harry Potter fan in your life, this is a must do that you can. I feel confident that you could spend 2 days exploring the current areas, Wizarding World of Harry Potter areas, with maybe a little bit of like the other areas, in Universal, some other rides. And then once they add on Epic, it's going to be even more so. And I think too, one of the things we talked about, like kids rides, like they're going to have How to Train Your Dragon and Super Nintendo. Those two areas alone are going to make it more kid friendly.
when he was going through each of the new lands and each of the new rides, it felt like there was a family-friendly ride in each of the new lands coming.
They have
Yes,
a playground in the How to Train Your Dragon that is very similar, I think, in my mind, to like the Boneyard, like where they can just run free and get all of their energy out. What was the ride, or I don't remember where it was, the water one where you can, where you spray? Was that How to Train Your Dragon?
yes. He goes, "My coworkers hate me now." He said, "Pro tip, spray the surprise boxes because it sprays everybody else on the boat and not yourself."
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go see that and what it has to offer.
Well, if you are interested in either Universal or Disney or a split stay combo trip, which we have lots of clients that love to do that as well, please let us know. We'd love to help you. Thank you so much for listening this week. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wanderlust and Wishes.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, the world is full of wonders waiting to be explored. Until next time, happy travels.
Bye for now.